Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Google Made Easy. This week we are covering Gmail 2.0. It's not a new app, it's just a new way of doing things. We are going to be covering a medium to advanced session this week. It is on essential add-ons and advanced features for Gmail. So if you haven't already checked out our Getting Started with Gmail episode, make sure you go and check that out. That covers all of the basics. This stuff is going to be a little bit more intermediate and advanced level. So hope you enjoy it. Two quick things before we get started. So number one, if you're following along at home, make sure you've got your laptop there or you've got some notes to start taking out notes as you follow along. We get super practical in these sessions. So if you want to follow along and implement as we go, please be my guest. Hopefully you can keep up with how we go. Number two, make sure you continue the conversation on social media. So use the hashtags Google Made Easy and Business Blueprint and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your preferred social network is. So let's get started. What are we going to cover in this week's episode? So first up, we're going to go through working offline with Gmail. We did touch on this in one of our other episodes, but we are going to touch on how to do that because it's super important to make sure that you've got Gmail offline running for your Gmail account. Next up, essential keyboard warrior shortcuts. We're going to turn you into a keyboard warrior so you know all of the basic keyboard shortcuts to get around with Gmail. Next up, you are going to learn how to connect more with your contacts using a cool little app called Discoverly. We are going to help you get that installed and show you what kind of stuff it does. Next up, how to use Yesware for intelligent email reminders. Now, Yesware is one of my favorite applications to help you get more out of your email and become an email ninja. So we're going to be helping you with that. Next up, how to magically undo sent emails. Sounds crazy, but we are going to be able to show you how to do that. And next, our top 3 hidden settings for even more productivity. So if you want to get more out of your Gmail, stay tuned for some really good stuff coming up. So finally, we're going to cover how to allow others to access your mailbox. So if you need to share your mailbox with one of your team members, a PA, a VA, anyone else who's helping you out manage your emails, we're going to show you how to delegate access to your inbox so someone else can access your Google account without your password and help you manage the emails. So we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get started. First up, we're going to be talking about working offline with Gmail. Now, Gmail's fantastic. It's got amazing search capabilities. Everything else is wonderful about Gmail, but obviously we do everything in the browser. So what happens when you're offline? If you're sitting at a cafe or maybe you're sitting down the beach or you might be on a flight between 2 different cities, how can you still get work done in your emails if you can't connect to Gmail? Now, there are some ways of getting around this. You may be connecting your Gmail to your Microsoft Outlook, or you might have connected it to your Mac Mail. That's one way of getting access to emails offline. However, it doesn't quite give you the same Gmail experience as Gmail itself. So thankfully, Google has an offline mode for Gmail, and that's a Chrome app that you simply add to your Chrome account. So that Chrome app, all we need to do is go to the Chrome Web Store and add Gmail offline into our account. Now, what's it going to do, and how are we going to access our emails offline? Well, it works by taking each one of your emails, going back just 30 days, and it stores it locally on your machine in your Google Chrome browser. So what that means is Google Gmail offline is constantly synchronizing and keeping a copy of all of your emails offline. So when you're disconnected from the internet and you open up the Gmail offline app, then you're going to be able to connect to all of your emails. And the great thing is you've got the functionality to send new emails, reply to emails, make any adjustments to emails, even emails that are sitting in your folders as well to get you access to everything that you need. So let's take a look at how to get Gmail offline set up in Google Chrome. So like most of the Google Chrome apps and extensions, we're going to go to our Google Chrome Web Store to find the right Gmail app. So as you can see here, right now I'm in my own Gmail account, but we need to go to the Chrome Web Store, and that's where we're going to be able to find Gmail offline. Now, once I've got the Chrome Web Store open, I can go ahead and search for Gmail offline in the apps. And let's see if we can get the right one to pop up. Here we go, it's up the top. So we're looking under apps. This one isn't an extension, it's an app. and we click on a Gmail offline. Now, this one's automatically added to my Chrome, so it's giving me a link to visit the website, but if you haven't already added it, then what you're going to see is a little blue button there called Add to Chrome. Anyway, that's been added. Now, how do we access Gmail offline? Well, that's really simple and straightforward. When you're on a new tab, all you need to do is click onto the Apps button. And clicking the Apps button is going to show you all of the apps that have been added to your Google Chrome. So to access Gmail offline, we just need to select Gmail offline, and what that's going to do is load up our Gmail offline mailbox. Now, the cool thing about this is it's automatically been synchronizing my emails in the background. And what that means is the last 30 days of emails are automatically going to be saved and stored locally on my device. All that means is when I jump onto a long flight or maybe I'm disconnected from the internet, I can open up Chrome, I don't have to do anything else, and I can jump straight into Gmail offline. So let's take a look at the Google offline interface now that we've loaded up the app. So as you can see here, Google has brought up all of my current emails that are sitting in my inbox. I can see the same kind of emails. Now, you'll immediately notice that the interface is a little bit different to the standard online Gmail. This is because this is a cut down version and is very different to Gmail Online. We've just got basic controls, the ability to compose new emails, reply to emails, forward emails. We can move emails into labels, we can archive them, we can do all the basics, but that's about it. We can run searches and they work really well, but remember, it's just back to the last 30 days worth of emails. So let's have a look at how we do some of the basic functions in our Gmail offline app. So as you can see here, I've got my emails and I can run through each one of those and get work done on those. Now, if I'd like to compose a new email, I can go ahead and just hit the compose button up here and type away my email. Now, it will keep my full address book as part of Gmail offline, which is pretty cool, including pictures and everything. So I can send off an email to my colleague, Pete Kvist, who is also on the Business Blueprint Network. So let's go ahead and we'll finish that one off. I'll discard that message. We don't need that. Now, if I want to access any of my labels or maybe my sent mail, I go along to the side menu along here. And you can see here that I've got access to some of my labels. So if I need to check in on my news folder for my different newsletters, we've got that all in there. And let's go ahead and go back to my inbox so I can access that. Replying and forward, pretty straightforward. We can tap out an email there, hit send, and it's gone off to our recipient. Now, remember that those emails are going to sit in an outbox in Gmail offline until you connect back to the internet. So as we send off our emails, they'll be sitting there waiting dormant, and as soon as we connect to the internet again, it's going to get those sent off. Now, you can even close Google offline, Gmail offline, sorry, and those emails will still be retained, although you will need to open up the Gmail offline app again once you're connected to the internet for all of those emails to send. So that's the best way to access Gmail when you're offline, and it keeps you connected to your emails even when you don't have an internet connection. So next up, let's talk about important keyboard shortcuts for you to know. If you want to become a keyboard warrior, these are all the shortcuts that you need to know to get started with. Now, before we get started with shortcuts, there's something really important to show you. We've actually got to switch on shortcuts in our Gmail settings. So let's show you how to do that first, and then we'll go through some of the basic shortcuts to remember. So I'm going to go ahead back into my Gmail here, and I'm going to go into settings, and then settings menu here. And let's take a look for the shortcuts option. Here we go. So under keyboard shortcuts, we want to make sure they are switched on, and then you'll need to scroll down and hit the Save Changes button. Excellent. Okay, so now we've got the basics down. Let's go through some of the basic shortcuts that you need to learn. So if you've got a pen and paper ready, let's get started. First one to learn is C for compose. Now, it's not Control-C or Command-C or anything like that. We literally just hit the C button. Let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. I'm going to click the C button, and let's see if it pops up on my machine. There we go, the compose window pops up straight away. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's a bit strange, Peter. Why aren't we using a command key or anything like that to make this happen? And that's because Gmail was designed to be used 100% with a keyboard. So you can actually get away, write your way through Gmail without even using a mouse. Now, we're not going to do any of that today. We're just going to focus on a few basic shortcuts that you need to remember as they're the most important ones. So, first one was C for compose. Next one is when you're actually writing an email and you've finished writing the email, to send that email, we want to press Tab and then spacebar. Or you can also use Tab and then Enter. Now remember, they're not at the same time, they're separately, Tab and then spacebar, or you can use Tab and then Return. And what that does is that actually sends the email. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's because it is. Now, when you've got an email open, you've got an email thread open that you're working with, let's show you just what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and open up an email here from Scott. And I've scrolled down to the bottom of the email here. Now, there's two that you need to remember when you're viewing an email. The first one is R for reply. So just pressing the R button is going to open up a reply to Scott here. That's really simple and straightforward to do. Next, if I want to forward this email to someone, it's F for forward. So there we go, hit the F key, and that's going to forward the email. Now, lastly, if I'm done with this email conversation and I'd like to archive it, the keyboard shortcut for archive is E. Bit of a strange one, but I like to remember it as E-waste. E is the button for archive. So if we're done with this one, we can hit the E button, and that's going to move that conversation right out of the inbox for us. So what that now means is that we don't need to use the mouse for absolutely every option in our Gmail. We can use the keyboard shortcuts to get around and be a bit quicker with how we're using Gmail online. So a couple of quick shortcuts. Let's do a quick recap. C for compose. To send an email, we want to click tab and then spacebar, or tab and then return. Next up, to reply to an email, R for reply, F for forward, and then number 5, E for archive. They're the most important ones for you to remember and to get down for you to become a keyboard warrior. Now, if you'd like to learn all of the other Google shortcuts, there's a shortcut to find the rest of the shortcuts. Bit crazy, isn't it? Let's have a look at where that is. So anywhere in the Gmail interface, I can actually hold down the Shift key and then press my question mark button. So that's Shift and then the forward slash key on most keyboards, but Shift and then question mark will actually open up all of the keyboard shortcuts in one window. And as you can see, some of the ones that we've already gone through are here as well. So that's how we get to our Google shortcuts, and you will be a shortcut master within no time. So we've gone through our basic keyboard shortcuts. Let's go on to our next step, and that is to start working with some cool plugins for Gmail. Now, this is one of my favorite plugins. This adds to the functionality of Gmail. Remember that third-party developers are open to adding.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.